Tell me where I'm wrong.
That you're right on everything.
You're going to enlist and go fight on behalf of Israel?
I have family, I have friends that are in the IDF.
If you're American,
if we're gonna have a discussion,
you should not be calling for American soldiers to fight Israel's war.
I am a Reaver, and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who taught me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
Remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. So as Iran continues to give Israel a taste of their own medicine after Israel started a war with them, all the usual clowns and performing monkeys have crawled out of the woodworks to do their Zionist apologist act. A ray of sunshine amongst the slop is Anna Kasparian, a well-spoken, fearless young woman who has not only been a loud voice for the Palestinian people, but also someone who is not afraid to hold Israel accountable for their history of oppression and extremism, which spans to this very day. Let's look at the first clip where Anna educates PBD's sidekick Adam Sosnick along with a pro-Israeli panel about the current America, Iran and Israel situation.
Israel carried out strikes in Iran, essentially beginning what is now referred to as a war. The strikes were carried out right before Donald Trump, the president of the United States, of course, was supposed to have another round, I believe the 6th round of diplomatic negotiations with Iran to get a nuclear deal, a new nuclear deal, because in 2018, Trump ripped up the original nuclear deal, which prevented Iran from enriching enough uranium to build nuclear weapons. That brings us to today, where you have the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, for literally decades, trying to push the United States to go to war in Iran on Israel's behalf. He decides to carry out this strike. There's now evidence indicating that Trump did give him his blessing to do this. And so what's the argument? Well, of course, Israel is making the self-defense argument. So Netanyahu argues, we have intelligence indicating that Iran is on the precipice of developing nuclear weapons, and that poses a threat to Israel. In March, Tulsi Gabbard gave a briefing. She is the Secretary of the Department of National Intelligence. And so she's talking about the threat that Iran poses. She's specifically addressing them allegedly building nuclear weapons. Now, this is in March of this year. They're not building a nuclear bomb. That's what she clearly states during this hearing back in March. Then you have Netanyahu making it appear as though, oh my God, they're about to drop the nuke on Israel. There's no evidence of that. There's no indication that they're building a nuclear weapon. And more importantly, dating all the way back to the 1990s, Netanyahu was saying that Iran is about to obtain a nuclear weapon. This has been a narrative by Netanyahu for literally decades. Whether you're talking about Iran, whether you're talking about Iraq, whether you're talking about Libya, whether you're talking about Afghanistan, there has been this orchestrated effort, specifically by Netanyahu. He's been kind of like the mouthpiece for it. But the government of Israel has been trying to get the United States to fight its wars for Israel to the detriment of Americans. We went into Iraq. 4,000 of our soldiers died based on a complete lie. There were no weapons of mass destruction. There was no indication that they were developing nuclear weapons. It was a lie. I believe that right now what's happening is Israel does the strike. Okay, I think Trump made a huge mistake by giving that strike or giving these current strikes that Israel is doing his blessing. I think he was under the assumption that that would bring Iran to the negotiating table and give the United States more leverage. But that is not what's going to happen. Now Iran is in full-blown war with Israel to the point where Israel is trying to get the United States to fight offensively, not to just defend Israel, but to fight offensively. People are going to die. People are already dying. And I think this is really part of what's known as the Greater Israel Project, right? They want to have dominance in that region, and they want to install puppet governments. And so in the case of Iran, Netanyahu can barely contain himself when it comes to wanting regime change. But it is always a bad idea when you have a third party or a foreign government carry out or orchestrate regime change in your own country. We have seen how that works out. It destabilizes countries. My issue here is that we're being lied to, and we're being lied to the detriment of Americans and to, I guess, to the benefit of Israel. And I don't think that's okay.
That was perfectly articulated by Anna. Like she said, Israel initiated this war in the midst of a nuclear deal between the US and Iran, and that Israel, in particular Netanyahu, has been pushing for a war with Iran fought by America on their behalf for decades now. Anna brilliantly debunked Israel's false claims that they attacked Iran in self-defense because they have nuclear weapons. Israeli propagandists really do think people are stupid. Firstly, you have to be attacked in order to defend yourself. And secondly, Israel is a nation that illegally possesses nuclear nuclear weapons, whilst ironically accusing Iran of doing the very same thing. It's like the pot calling the kettle enriched uranium. Every Zionist accusation really is just an admission of their own guilt and hypocrisy. Anna highlighted the fact that just a few months ago, the current US Secretary of the Department of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, publicly made the claim that Iran has no nuclear weapons, nor are they developing them. So why all of a sudden is the US believing an Israeli Prime Minister currently facing corruption charges in his own country and that has a live international warrant out for his arrest for war crimes over an American politician with a clean track record? And as Anna stated, Netanyahu has been pushing this Iran has nukes lie for around 4 decades now, despite all international inspections proving otherwise numerous times. Anna also called out Netanyahu for lying and manipulating the US into fighting wars against Iraq, Afghanistan and Libya on Israel's behalf, to the detriment of America. Let's not forget Yemen, Lebanon, Syria or Sudan either. And as well as calling out Trump's complicity in Israel's latest aggression against Iran, Anna was right on the money when she said this is all part of the Greater Israel Project, masterminded by Zionists in order to expand their land in the Middle East through robbing and killing innocent people. Let's watch the next clip where Adam Sosnick and the panel chime in to explain why they condone war crimes.
Respectfully, what's your point?
My point is the United States should not be backing Israel in this war of aggression against Iran.
So
Iran is not a threat to our national security. There's no evidence of that whatsoever.
I don't think that's true, Anna.
Based on what?
Okay, based on the fact that she just said they have a huge amount of enriched uranium.
They do.
They have 6 to 10 bombs worth. So let's start with that.
You want to know who has nuclear weapons? Israel.
I know, but Israel is
not.
Hold on.
No, not allegedly. Not allegedly.
Hold on. There's a difference. Israel is not chanting death to America. They are not ideologically captured. On top of that, they just got detonators, which makes them more dangerous. What is the proof that they're doing this? They have nuclear sites that both.
Jill, this is the same Iraq narrative.
How
are we falling for it again?
I agree with you that I don't want Iraq ever again, but I see.
But we're
vast
driving toward that. We're totally driving toward that.
Just because you're right on something doesn't mean you're right on everything.
I'm right on everything.
Can I also say
so that's where you made a problem. Is that you just
tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
That you're right on everything.
Your weapons, though.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
I just want to finish this one.
Are you going to go fight? Are you going to enlist and go fight on behalf of Israel?
I have family. I have friends that are in the IDF.
Okay,
how many family
they're in the
friends do you
IDF.
have
They're in Israel. If you're American, you should not be calling for American soldiers to fight Israel's war.
You just ranted, and I'm going to talk now. I'm going to ask you one question.
Go ahead. Okay, Adam, go.
Let me just say one thing, real quick.
So I don't get to talk. You kept going.
You do.
Hannah, welcome to your show. Go ahead, sweetheart.
The country that is currently carrying out a genocide in Gaza has nuclear weapons, and they have the audacity to talk about how other countries in the region are a threat to their national security. Okay.
Well, let me just say one thing. Here's the thing. I appreciate that Netanyahu is a
terrible
deeply flawed person. Yep. Okay. And I appreciate that nobody wants to see Iraq again. But on top of the fact that I do think there is some legitimate concern at this moment with regard to nuclear weapons, there's also intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Every country has that. Are we going to invade every country because they have missiles?
Death to America. They're the top funders of terror. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Shiite militias. They have assassination plots against our president. There's cyber attacks.
There's no evidence of that either, by the way.
The CIA said that.
The CIA loves to go with the United States into war.
I want to understand your central thesis. Here's my question.
What is your central thesis?
That Iran is not
a threat to America. Iran is not a threat to America. There's no evidence that Iran is a threat to America.
Developing nuclear weapons?
They are part of.
Are they developing nuclear weapons or not?
They are not developing nuclear weapons. There is no evidence of that. Yes.
So why are they having nuclear peace talks?
Why do they have detonators and enriched uranium?
Because they think it's fun? What are you talking about?
Okay.
If we can't live in reality, they're having nuclear peace talks.
Let me answer your
question. To do
question.
what? To talk about the nuclear weapons that they're not developing?
Okay.
That makes no sense to me.
First of all, I would not be surprised if they geared up enriching uranium as a result of the fact that Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal in 2018.
The Iran nuclear deal.
Hold on.
So they're developing nuclear weapons.
Hold on.
It's okay. Iran is part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Do you know what that is?
Go ahead, explain.
Non-Proliferation Treaty allows the international community to do checks on Iran to ensure that they are not developing nuclear weapons. The country that does have nuclear weapons is Israel. They are not part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. They don't even acknowledge the fact that they have nuclear weapons. The idea that Israel, that has the backing of the top military superpower in this world, and that's the United States, the country that has nuclear weapons, is crying about how Iran is such a threat to Israel, it's ridiculous.
As Anna said, the US should not fight wars on the behalf of Israel, and I wholeheartedly agree. The presenter lady contested this by claiming that Iran has a capability to make nuclear weapons, which Anna shut down by saying that although Iran has a potential of doing so, Israel already have them. Once again, let's be clear, Israel have them illegally. The presenter also claimed Iran has slogans such as death to America. She must not realise that although hearty words may be bad for sensitive people, it doesn't justify bombing a country in response. I'm not saying that I agree with Iran chanting these slogans. That is if they even do so in the first place. But do you know what's worse than chanting death to America? Killing Americans, which Israel has not only done throughout history, but also very recently in Palestine. The presenter woman also claimed that Israel are not ideologically captured, basically making the Islamophobic assumption that Iran is. The reality is that Irani public are quite moderate Muslims. And if she thinks radical Zionism and Jewish supremacy don't equate to a nation being ideologically captured, then she's beyond delusional, because Zionist extremism is the most toxic and dangerous ideology known to human beings in the modern world. As Anna said, this Iran scaremongering is the exact same propaganda tactic used to dupe the world into getting behind the wrongful invasion of Iraq. Glorified PBD sidekick Adam Sosnick doesn't think so, because of course, as a Zionist, he wants Israel to start wars that America has to fight on their behalf. He even admitted to having friends and family members in the IDF. Anna absolutely flamed him when she said, "Go to Israel and fight for them instead of asking Americans to do it for you." Did you catch how this slimeball Adam accused Anna of having family members in Hamas? We can always count on a pathetic Zionist to use the tired blame Hamas excuse to justify their own criminality as usual. Anna had another mic drop moment when she said Israel, who are currently committing a genocide in Gaza and have illegal nuclear weapons, have the audacity to accuse other countries of being a threat to the region. The presenter lady stepped in for Adam and said, "Well, Iran have missiles," to which Anna replied, "So do most countries around the world. That does not warrant going to war with them." The presenter also claimed Iran tried to assassinate Trump, citing the CIA as a source, which is a complete lie, as Anna stated. Here are the two guys who are accused of trying to kill Donald Trump. They don't look Irani to me whatsoever. In fact, it's clear as day that they're white Americans. By the way, do you know which country is actually accused of assassinating a sitting US president? Israel. Adam repeated the claim that Iran is a threat to the US because they're developing nuclear weapons, a claim Anna already debunked when she spoke of a US official saying otherwise very recently. Shill Adam did not even know what the Non-Proliferation Treaty was. And as Anna explained, this is a document Iran signed that promotes global peace by allowing nuclear inspections. Also, as Anna said, Israel, on the other hand, who have secret illegal nuclear weapons, refused to sign the same treaty, and we're supposed to believe Iran is a threat and not Israel. And let's not get into Israel's doomsday nuclear military strategy, known as the Samson option, which basically will bring about the end of the world if Israel ceases to exist. Nothing threatening about that, right? Let's watch the next clip.
Here's the problem. Iran played by the rules, and they got anyway.
Why do you think Trump?
So let me understand one thing.
Let me ask
Are
you
you a
something.
defender of Iran? Is that
No,
who you
I'm
are?
not a defender of
The
Iran.
mental
I'm a
gymnastics you
defender
have
of the
to go
United
through
States of
to defend
America and our
Iran.
soldiers.
Sounds like you're defending
And our
Iran
soldiers.
right now.
You know what? I think Israel needs to fight its own wars. Why do they keep pulling the United States into their wars?
America is not
it's
on the
unacceptable.
ground in Israel. I'm America first. There's zero
You're not
Americans.
America first. Don't say that.
You don't.
When you're egging
I'm
on this
America
war, you're not
first.
America first. We
I'm
have
not-
soldiers in that region right now, tens of thousands of
they're
them
not
who are now
fighting.
a target as a result of
So
this.
are you just like, do you hate Israel blindly that you can't address the facts? Or
I
like, what is
hate
it?
what the current Israeli government, not just the current Israeli government, what the Israeli government over the last several decades has done in lying to Americans and the American government in order to get us to fight their wars for them. That's what I have a problem with.
All the wars, and I agree we shouldn't have done what we done in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that.
Yeah,
You're
in
blaming
10 years,
all
you'll say the
that.
same about Iran.
Our
Trust
entire
me.
presidential, congressional, and military apparatus, all of that is based on Bibi Netanyahu's opinion?
Not
Is that
just
what you're
his opinion.
saying?
The Israeli government
So you're saying that-
wants to be the dominant force in that region.
So I don't understand, like, are you
If they-
defending
listen,
terrorists?
No, I'm not defending terrorists.
I don't know what
no
you're
other
doing.
country expects the United States to fight their wars for them other than Israel. Why is that?
Also,
Ukraine.
other countries that we get involved in.
Yeah,
and I
we
don't see
shouldn't.
American
And we
troops on the
shouldn't.
ground
And we
in
shouldn't.
Israel, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, in any of these. Okay. So what you're doing is yapping and lying. Here's my problem with you. You can be loud,
Yeah.
and you can be wrong.
You don't have
Pick
any-
one.
you don't have
when
any
you're loud
actual
and wrong,
substantive
that's when you
points.
get in trouble, okay?
I've been trying to speak this entire, it's like 20 minutes in, I haven't said a single word.
Go ahead, Lindy.
please.
Go crazy. Go nuts.
I don't want to be like,
Just go.
well,
Lindy,
anyway,
just
so
go.
I just want to say, just because you're yelling doesn't mean that you're correct, but that's not my
Correct.
main point. My main point is this. I'm not even pro the Netanyahu regime, but let's get our facts correct. Iran is completely desecrating all agreements that it's previously made. In fact,
it's not.
yes. Can I
No,
finish?
they're not.
Just 2 weeks ago, they refused to let nuclear inspectors into their infrastructure, into their facilities. That is a clear violation of previous agreements. To say that that's not happening is completely dishonest and disingenuous. And I'm not even pro Netanyahu. I just want to lay out the facts here. This is what's happening. They are violating agreements.
Well, let me ask you something. If you play by the rules for years, you literally play by the rules, you're part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, you're allowing IAEA inspectors to come into your country, and you still see that Israel is successful in goading the United States to fight this war, they're still lying about what Iran is up to. Wouldn't you just say, you know what, F it. Why am I even part of this? Why are we allowing the international community to come in and check
So you're
what's
saying Iran
happening?
is playing by the rules?
Yeah, Iran
Is that what you're
is
saying?
absolutely
That's a
playing
Well,
by the
then
rules.
now I know who you are. You believe Iran. Respect.
I don't believe Iran.
So
I
just
believe
how
international
people are-
inspectors,
Okay.
and I believe the United States as they, by the way, if you don't want Iran to develop nuclear weapons, best way to do that is to remain in the Iran nuclear deal. But Netanyahu hated the Iran nuclear deal.
Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal.
Trump pulled out of it, but why?
So what are we relitigating?
No, they did. That's not true, Jillian. That's not true.
Once again, as Anna said, Iran played by the rules by complying with international nuclear treaties that allowed inspections, and Israel did not. So how is Iran the problem and not Israel? Adam accused Anna of being a defender of Iran, which is a baseless and idiotic allegation. As Anna said, she's simply defending America. Adam, on the other hand, is a defender of the Zionist extremist Jewish supremacist state of Israel. The level of projection from this hypocrite is just ridiculous. As a Sunni Muslim, I'm not particularly pro-Iran, but I do recognise their right to defend themselves, and I respect them for standing up for their nation against a regional bully like Israel. Anna correctly said that Adam puts Israel over America, which is evident from how he's calling for Americans to go die for Israelis. I totally get why Anna and billions of people around the world express hatred towards past and current Israeli regimes for the long list of global atrocities they've committed. As Anna said, Adam is a sensitive butthurt shill with no actual substantive points, as all he does is repeat disinformation designed to deflect away from Israel's wrongdoing, just like all his fellow Zio propagandists. The other female panellist was yet another shameless shill, just of the more passive-aggressive variety. She claimed not to be pro-Netanyahu, but she seemed very pro-war against Iran. Anyone making excuses for why Israel is justified in killing innocent people is by default pro-Netanyahu, whether they deny it or not, as that is 100% what he represents. This panellist claimed that it is Iran who are breaking their previous agreements as per a couple of weeks ago, because they are no longer allowing nuclear inspections, which, as I showed you earlier, Israel has always flat out refused to do. Anna's response to this was spot on. Iran, unlike Israel, have played by the rules and honoured all previous agreements, which they were in the process of renewing until Israel sabotaged that deal by attacking them. I personally think all nations should sign this treaty in order to ensure world peace. But I pose the question, why do Iran not have the right to refuse inspection without scrutiny and Israel does? Shouldn't both of them be criticised for not doing so? Refusal to acknowledge this just confirms that this panel member, along with the presenter and Adam, have dishonest intentions. Let's watch the last clip.
Move the goalpost.
Yeah,
First you said,
I literally don't understand your argument.
Let's
I don't
lay
understand
this out
anything you're
clearly
saying.
here. Anna first said Iran is playing by all the rules. That's what you said
Yes,
about
they were
5
playing
minutes
by all the rules,
I
yes.
just told you that they refused to let nuclear inspectors into their facilities just 2 weeks ago. So
Okay.
now you move the goalpost and you're saying, oh, but it's not their fault because they didn't play. They played by the rules. Now they can't not play by the rules because Israel isn't. Do you understand what I mean?
No.
Like you're changing.
Okay, let me calmly try to explain it so you guys understand what I'm saying. For years, Iran played by the rules because they don't want war, okay? They allowed the international community to come in. They did abide by the Iran nuclear deal, even after Trump pulled out. For a few years after that, they were not enriching uranium because they wanted to re-enter the deal. By the way, Biden comes into power. Biden promised on the campaign trail that he was going to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal. He didn't do that. So Democrats are a problem in this scenario as well. Hold on, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
See how I allow you to talk?
So I need to ask you something, Adam.
Go ahead.
Do you think Tulsi Gabbard was lying to the American people when she said that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon? Was she lying?
I don't know what information she's looking at, but I'm pretty sure Iran is working on a nuclear weapon. Question for you.
Sure, based on what?
Question for you.
Based on what?
Here's
How
the
are you
question.
sure?
She said
Here's the
they have
question.
enough enriched uranium.
She says
to
that
be
they have
significant.
accelerated.
And if they're not working on nuclear weapons, why do they have detonators?
Okay, so what do you
why
think
do
is
they
gonna
have
happen?
scientists there?
How
Why
do you
they
feel
have
about the
centrifuges?
Islamic regime of Iran?
How do
The
you feel about
Ayatollahs?
a country that's doing a genocide right now having a nuclear weapon? Do you have any problems with that?
But let's say
Can
on
you
track
address
here.
the nuclear weapons that Israel
we're
has, or are you
talking
going to
about
deny that
Iran.
they
We're
have
talking about Iran, right?
Okay, but we're talking about Israel and Iran.
Okay. But
Israel
let's
is
stay on
a
Iran
military
right now.
superpower because of the United States. They have nuclear weapons. They're carrying out the mass slaughter of innocent people in Gaza and the West Bank, which had nothing to do with October 7th.
Your
It's not.
talking
It's all
points are
related.
just
We're pretending as if
completely
Israel is the
invalid, and
devil
that's
here, and
cool.
they're not.
I've learned my lesson. Don't try to convince someone who's completely off left field.
Someone who's
So
actually
keep doing your
educated on
thing.
the matter, yeah.
So here's my question for you. How do you feel about the Islamic regime in Iran? Are they good people?
No, they're terrible people.
Okay, so what do you
are the
want to do?
Saudis. So are a bunch of other countries we do trade with.
Here's
We
a
have
list of
relations
violations
are
of the
hardly
proliferation agreement
as
right
bad as the
here.
Ayatollah. Why are people in Iran cheering for Israel? Why is
that's not true?
Yeah, no.
There's
And hold on.
videos left and right.
80% of Iranians actually detest
Iranians
the regime.
are rooting for Israel. If there's one country that Israel has the highest approval ratings, it's within Iran.
Iranians
Why is Reza Pahlavi getting on TV, doing an interview, pull it up, saying, please, Iranians, now's the time
because he's going
to
to be the
revolt against the
puppet
regime.
that's installed by Israel.
So I don't understand what you're doing, respectfully.
Yeah.
You're defending
No,
Iran?
I'm defending
what
the United
a horrible
States.
position to be
Yeah, I'm
to be
defending
in.
the United States.
The country that yells death to America.
Right.
A United
I don't want our
States that
soldiers fighting
Israel.
this war. I don't want our soldiers fighting this war.
Neither
I
do
don't want American
Neither do I.
taxpayers.
You're using a straw man argument because our soldiers are not fighting this war.
But
They're
they
going
could be.
to.
It's like they could be any minute, and that's
No, they're not.
What
No, they're not.
makes
They're not in Iran.
Well, what makes you say that? Because this whole thing is already so suspicious.
So the argument is we don't want them could be, but they're not now. So let's live in reality.
Well, Trump initially denied involvement, correct? And then he later went on and said he actually had full knowledge of everything going down the entire time. Of course he did.
Again, as Anna said, Israel complied with the nuclear treaty to avoid war, whereas Israel did the complete opposite. And the fact still remains that Iran does not have nuclear weapons and Israel does. Anna put Adam on the spot when she posed the question. Why would a US official, namely Tulsi Gabbard, very recently claim that Iran is not developing nuclear weapons? And in response, both Adam and the hack presenter refused to answer the question and instead squirmed their way out of it. Sidekick Boy then changed the subject to Iran's so-called Islamic regime, trying to use anti-Muslim propaganda to divert away from the topic, which Anna brilliantly swatted aside by asking, why should Israel, who are committing a live genocide, be allowed to have nuclear weapons? And once again, these shills refused to answer by claiming the genocide in Palestine is unrelated to the Iran situation, which is complete nonsense, as Anna said. On the one hand, they claimed Hamas are an Iranian proxy, and on the other, they claimed Israel's war crimes are not part of a wider plot to start a war with Iran. At the very least, get your stories straight before you lie on camera. Adam and the panel then made the ridiculous claim that the majority of Iranian people are cheering on Israel bombing them because they hate their government. I don't blame Anna for laughing in their faces after hearing this. Like, who in the world would cheer for a country that drops bombs on them and their family? If you go online and check on Iranian social media profiles, you will find that the opposite is true. In fact, it seems that this war with Israel has united the Iranian people in solidarity as they stand together against the Zionist warlords. Adam's sellout boss PBD and a sprinkle of other traitors may be cheering on their people being bombed, but the majority of Iranians are not. Again, Adam disapproves of Iran's supposed slogan of death to America, as I do, but he very conveniently ignores the fact that Israelis openly chant death to Arabs and Muslims. And Adam bringing up a puppet Iranian politician that is Netanyahu's whipping boy and that is waiting in the wings to take over the country as Israel's plan is far from a solid argument, as Anna said. Do these people hear themselves talk? Who even believes these lazy propagandists? I know this was a 3 versus 1 debate, but Anna was up against morons here, so I can see how she breezed past them to an easy win. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, and remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.